Today Baba is underlining the importance of study, and Baba says, having regard for me is having regard for the directions that I give. And if you don't have regard for the directions that I give, then that means that you are having disregard for me. And Baba says that I come to you, I meet you, but you children also don't have a relationship fully with me. Baba says sometimes you only have a relationship with the Father, but I am not just the Father. I am also the teacher and the Satguru. So do you have a relationship with all three forms of me all the time? Or mostly you only have relationship with the Father? Because you see that when you think Baba is the Father and you forget Baba is also the teacher, then you love Baba, but you don't follow his directions. Because the aspect of the teacher is that Baba teaches us. So if we don't pay attention to the study, that means that I don't have a relationship with the teacher. I only have a relationship with the Father. Now you see, it takes a little churning to understand these things. So, one thing first I would like to underline is, when Baba says study, study means 4 subjects. First is studying the Murli every day. It's not like reading the Murli and then forgetting it. Yes, if you read a book and then you forgot whatever was written in it, then are you a good student? No. Studying means reading, remembering, churning, understanding, imbibing. All of these things. So this is the first subject of study, knowledge. And even with knowledge, if we are just reading the Murli but not remembering the points, or we are remembering the points but we cannot understand the implication of it. Sometimes you remember a point but you don't understand the implication of it. For example, Baba says, those who cry lose out. Jin roya din khoya. Now what is the implication of that? What do you lose out on? Because you see, in the world, people say that when you cry, you feel better. Yes, so then why does Baba say that when you cry, you lose out? So you lose out on your future kingdom, because you cannot go to Satyug without creating the sanskar of being ever happy. Yes, those who have a sanskar of crying, they can't go to Satyug. Can you imagine a deity crying? Yes. Can you imagine a deity crying, wailing in distress, like children do sometimes? So, do you do that? Then think about whether you can go to Satyug with this kind of a sanskar. And I remember there was one Mata, and she had this sanskar of banging her head against the wall when she got, frustrated and depressed or whatever. So when she would get flustered, she would just bang her own head against the wall. And then once she came to the center and this was all swollen, and I asked her, what has happened? And then she said, no, I just fell down, Didi. So I said, okay, you take care, don't, walk with attention. And then the husband called in the afternoon. And then he said, you know what has happened to her forehead? The husband is not in Gyan. So he called to complain. And then he said, this is your BK sister. She's banging her head against the wall when we have a fight. So that has happened because of that. So then I asked her the next day that if you went with this, if you continued with this sanskar, will you go to Satyug? Yes, if you have this sanskar, do you think you will go to Satyug with that? So then she said, no, Didi, but. I said, okay, all the buts are fine, but you're coming to the center. Why? You want to go to Satyug? You can't go like this. So you choose, you decide. Because you see, this is why Baba says, everybody says, I want to be Lakshmi and Narayan. But can you go and become Lakshmi and Narayan with the kind of activities you have right now? Yes, just look at how many expressions you give in 1 minute. Yes, expressions of yes, anger and resentment, dislike and other stuff. So with all these expressions, will you go to Satyug? Are you ever cheerful? Is your face always smiling? Come what may, yes, whatever is the situation, the scene, the weather, the condition, do you have that constant deity face? Yes, you may not have the deity features right now, but do you have that sanskar? Because Baba says that, so I was giving this as an example to churning on Gyan. So sometimes, we hear something, but we don't churn on it. So we hear, if you cry, you lose out, but lose out on what? So lose out on your future deity kingdom. And you don't want to have limited gain and unlimited loss. So even if your sanskar is compelling you, you understand that no, this is not something I do because I cannot go to Satyug with this sanskar. And do you know that when Mama came to Baba, and Baba used to go somewhere and Mama used to be left behind for seva, then Mama used to cry. But then Baba gave these directions and Mama stopped crying. So these are the directions that Baba is giving us, because with these sanskars we cannot go. So this is an example of how churning is very important. So with the first subject of Gyan itself, you need to not just read the Murli, remember the points, but also churn. Because until and unless you churn on the point, the importance, the relevance of the point doesn't sit in your buddhi. And it doesn't come as something you imbibe. So Baba says that, and then check in your actions. Are my actions according to the Gyan that Baba is giving me? So Baba says that I read in the Murli that if I cry, I lose out, and if I'm still crying, that means I know things, but I don't understand the importance of it. So that is why Gyan is not able to help me change my activities. So the first subject of study is knowledge. And I think, just reading the Murli and remembering the points is also a big feat. And once you do that, then comes the other steps. Because if you don't remember the point, how do you churn on it? So Baba says that you have to pay attention to the first subject. Then the second subject is yoga. And Baba says yoga is the most important subject, although it is the second one, but the most important, because today Baba in the Murli says nobody understands the power of yoga. Everybody says yoga is very important, yoga is very powerful, yoga is a big instrument. So everybody says that yoga has a lot of power, but what power? Nobody knows. And Baba tells us that with yoga, you can change from tamo pradhan to sato pradhan. That is the power of yoga. It can burn all your sins. And that is the most important subject of our study. So let me ask myself, do I pay attention to the second subject? Yes, do I pay attention to 8 hours of yoga minimum in the day? Yes, because Baba says at least 8 hours you need in a day. You see, if you have 8 hours of yoga, you don't have 16 hours of yoga. Yes, so even to stay balanced, and have some sins burnt, you need 8 hours of yoga. And Baba says, do you pay that much attention to yoga? And you see, there was this one sister, and she was preparing for civil services. And I asked her, how many hours do you study? So she said, 4 hours. I said, you cannot pass the civil service with 4 hours. So she said, but 4 hours is too much. I only studied 1 hour when I was in college. So I said, this is not college. You have to understand your aim to decide how much study you need to have. And if your aim is to burn 63 births of sin in one birth, do you understand how much yoga you need to have? And just think about the sanskars that are, day in and day out provoking us. If you want to keep them also in control, you need a lot of yoga. Let alone burn sins, that's a different subject altogether. But even, not creating new sins, even that requires a lot of yoga power. Because if you don't have yoga power, you cannot discern between Maya, because, you think that this is not Maya, this is a situation, you have to get angry, you have to react, this is calling for it, asking for it, but that is not how it is. So you cannot even discern Maya, you keep spoiling your karma because you don't have that kind of yoga. So the second subject is yoga. The third subject is inculcation of divine virtues. Yes, and Baba says purity is the first virtue. Yes, can you go to Satyug without, with lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed? No. Then you have to pay attention to purity. You have to pay attention to keeping your mind, words and actions pure, free from the smell of lust, anger, primarily lust and anger, and then slowly, gradually, ego, attachment, greed. So at least in the beginning, let my mind, my organs, my words be free from the vibration of lust and anger. So Baba says this, you have to pay attention to divine virtues. Today Baba says, look at the way you talk. Your behavior, your way of speaking should be divine. And for speaking, Baba has told us, speak less, speak softly, speak sweetly, and speak accurately. Yukti yukt bolo. Yes, it's not just that speak less, softly and sweetly, but not accurately. Sometimes, it's all waste conversation. Even if it's, and I don't think that, wasteful conversation can be soft and sweet and, but still, some people get that art. They speak softly, sweetly, they speak less, but it's all wasteful. But Baba says, no, never speak an unnecessary word. Never speak a word that is not in consonance with your aim. Yes, so let's say my aim is to make somebody understand. But if my words are not being able to do that, then let me stop speaking. I don't have to speak there. I have to accept the situation and give good wishes. So Baba says that these are the directions that Baba gives for divine virtues. And we have to pay attention to this subject of study. And then the fourth but not the least subject is Seva. And Baba says that is also a subject of study, because those who study will make others study. Those who study will have the interest that everybody studies. So whether you are contributing to the yajna and supporting the services whereby education, spiritual education is given to all, or whether you are directly giving jnana to somebody, this is an aspect of seva. And this is a very important aspect, because you need blessings to go to Satyug. You need blessings to counteract the final force of Maya. Do you know that when Brahma Baba ascended into his angelic body, at that time the experience of the final moments is explained as there was a tussle between the leftover karambandhan, whatever residue of sin was left, and the Baba was trying to take him, or the drama was trying to dictate that you leave the body. But the karambandhan was saying you stay. And then in that tussle, how did the vijay or the victory happen? Because of the power of good wishes. So in the final moments, these blessings, the stock of blessings that we earn from seva will help us. So Baba says you have to pay attention to all the 4 subjects of the study. And Baba says sometimes you only remember the father. You don't remember the teacher. You don't remember what he is telling you about knowledge, yoga, purity and seva. And some children, not paying attention to the Murli, maybe formally reading the Murli, but no attention to the Murli, no attention to yoga, not paying attention to purity, no seva. And Baba says, but they say, I love Baba. Why? Because there is only relationship with the father. Now you see, the interesting thing about the father is, have you seen that picture you have in centers and in Madhuban, where there is this picture of Brahma Baba and Shiv Baba sitting, and in that picture it says, don't worry, I am here. Chinta mat karo bacche, main baitha hu. Yes, and every child likes that picture. Yes, that is the picture of Baba the Father. And everybody likes, Baba should make me worry free. Baba is there, Baba's canopy is there, Baba's protection is there. And most of the times in yoga, what we keep doing is we keep having yoga with the Father. That, there's a protective shield around me. I'm always comforted, protected, sustained, nurtured. Baba is sitting, nothing can happen to me. And Baba is giving me love and peace and happiness. This is my birthright. So we keep doing that. And that's good. Baba is my Father. He's there for me. But Baba says, to remember me completely as I am is something that you children have to, become an expert at. And that is not just remembering Baba as a father, but also as a teacher. And if you don't remember Baba as the teacher, then you don't pay attention to study. And if you don't pay attention to study, then the Father will take you home. But the teacher who is going to give you a position in Satyug, how will he give you? Because without the study, you cannot get a good position in Satyug. So Baba says, have you forged this relationship with the Father and the teacher and the Satguru? Now, when we talk about Satguru, do you know, in Bhakti they say that you cannot override the direction of the Guru. So, Satguru ka farman is patthar ki lakir. So they say when the Guru says something, you have to follow it. So do you pay that much attention to Baba's directions? Do you understand that this is the Satguru telling me that you have to do this, so I have to do this? So Baba says, do you have that much regard for the study? Because if you don't have that regard for the study, then although you say that I'm here to become like Baba, or I'm here to become like Lakshmi Narayan, but where are those activities, those signs? Because they will come when you study properly. Study means 4 subjects, all 4 subjects. And then Baba says something very interesting. Baba says, in the world, there are people who choose to cut grass and not study. And they think that is being independent. Yes. And I'll give you the example of one Kanya. And she told me that she had a lot of problems at home. And she left home. And then there was a boy in his life and he betrayed her. And then she's working from morning to evening, and then she's getting very little money, but she's working like that. And then she also listens to Baba's Gyan. And then after all of that, she said, I want to come to the center for a few days, and I'm very tired, I'm not feeling good. So I said, why few days? Why don't you choose to live in the center? So she said, no, I don't want to live in the center. I don't want to lose out on my freedom. So I said, what kind of freedom do you have? You have a very miserable life if you ask me. This is not freedom. And I said, you are not, if this is freedom, you are not handling it very well. So you should know that this is not freedom, this is not freedom, this is not what freedom looks like, this is not what freedom feels like. So she said, but I cannot follow directions, I cannot do everything on time. I do yoga, but it's not like if somebody wakes me up at 3:30 every day, I will find that very, suffocating. I will do yoga whenever, I will get up whenever I want to. When I don't want to, I don't want to get up. So I said, that's all right. You may choose whatever you want. But the thing is, this kind of freedom is not giving you happiness now. It is not going to give you happiness ever. Because sometimes you don't understand the difference between bondage and freedom. And that is what Baba is pointing out today. So sometimes you think that doing everything according to your, whims and fancies is freedom. Yes, but the thing is, you are in karmic bondage. So are you really able to do what you want to do? You are in Ravan Raj. You are under the bondage of your body, your sense organs, your sanskars, circumstances. You are in deep bondage. And in that bondage, we have created this fancy idea of freedom. Yes, and because we have the freedom to be vicious. The only freedom we have in this world is the freedom to be vicious. There is no freedom otherwise. Yes, can you be so free that if you don't have money, you can't go, you can be free enough to not go to office? You have to work. Yes, you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to, there are so many things that you have to do. And then your own mind is under so much bondage of your own sanskars. But there is just this freedom to be vicious. Yes, the freedom to be lazy when you want, the freedom, or that also temporary, the freedom to be lustful, the freedom to overthink, the freedom to be angry. So that is not freedom. That is actually pulling you down, and tomorrow this freedom that you value so much is going to put you in greater bondage. So when you be lustful, angry, egoistic, you use your mind, body, wealth under that influence, then tomorrow you will be in greater karmic bondage. So Baba says, what we don't understand is this paradox between freedom and bondage. And Baba says that now if you come in the bondage of Baba, that is, you do everything as Baba says, and you think that, this is an agreement that I've signed and I cannot, disobey this, then in this bondage will set you free forever. Then in Satyug you will have no bondage. So this thing that Baba is pointing out today is very important. And I'll tell you one thing, there is this thing in students also. When students are studying, sometimes they get this idea that getting a job is very lucrative. Yes, so in the middle of the study, they leave their study and go for a job. And then 10 years later, they understand that doing the job was not a good idea. At that time, they should have waited for 4 years and studied and completed their course. Yes, and this is the thing that Baba is saying. Sometimes, these small things, they look very attractive to us in the short run, but in the long run, you repent about it. And Baba says at this time, you have to become bonded to Baba in order to be free always. I'll tell you one example. There was this one brother, and he came from a background where there was not much resources. And he said he was preparing for his civils exams, and he was pretty good at it. He was really good. In all the mock papers, he used to pass and everything. But there was no AC, no fan, no cooling arrangement basically. Maybe there was a fan, but not enough to keep the place cool. And it was top summer, and in that heat he couldn't handle the heat, and then he just left study. And then I asked him, why didn't you seek help? Why didn't you ask your father to take a loan and just, get some arrangement for you, or at least take you a place on rent and provide for you? So he said, I did not want to be a burden on my father. So I said, but do you understand that because of this decision that you made, forever you and your father will be a burden? If you had just, made the right decision at that time, and now also there is time. So don't give up on it. Just study, make some arrangement and study. And sometimes you don't understand what is a small thing and what is a big thing. And Baba says children also, they do this. They say, I want to enjoy this, I want to enjoy that. I don't want to have a bonded life. I don't want to follow this kind of a disciplined life. It suffocates me, it does this, that. But Baba says, you are in so much karmic bondage, and I am giving you the way to liberation and liberation in life. But you need to have some discipline at this time. So you have to understand this bondage freedom paradox. So freedom of the now is going to keep you in bondage, increasing bondage forever, and just being bonded to Baba at this time will give you unlimited freedom for 21 births. So make a good choice in that case, and Baba explains that. And today Baba also says that you have to have full faith in Baba and his directions. And Baba says, I guarantee you that if you follow my directions, you will never choke, you will never be in loss. You will never choke and you will never be in loss. And what is never choke? So there are moments in life when you think you did everything right, and then suddenly you have a lot of self-doubt about everything. Yes, you doubt everything that you did until then. That is choking. These moments of self-doubt. And these days, people have midlife crisis and this and that. All of this is because this is an aspect of choking. And Baba says, you will never choke. You will never have second thoughts about whether what you did was right, not right. And you will never, in the final moments, also repent. There will never be any loss. And I guarantee you that. But you have to move with faith. If you don't have faith that, but one thing is, when you have faith, you follow Srimad. And then the other aspect of faith is, when you're following Srimad with faith, then even if some obstacles come, you must know that they will eventually go away. So if you have faith, you continue come what may. And then in the end you understand that your journey was good and you reach your destination also. But if you don't have faith, then any obstacle comes, you keep re-evaluating that whether I should have taken this step or not, or was following Srimad a good idea or not. But Baba says, if you have faith, you will do everything according to Srimad, and you will not choke in the way and also reach your destination. So Baba says, you must have a lot of faith, and I guarantee you that you will never have any nuksan, you will never suffer any loss ultimately if you follow Srimad. Yes, maybe in the beginning, and I remember there was this one Mata, and she said that, Didi, I had really difficult relationships, and my mother-in-law used to be very abusive. And then Baba used to say, you must tolerate, be polite, be patient. and I used to think this is very difficult and I need to be, rude, and that's how I can keep her at bay, and I could just, not encourage that behavior. And but I thought, okay, if Baba is saying let me follow Srimad, then I was always quiet, and I did not answer back. I kept my sanskar as very polite and sweet. And she said when my mother-in-law died, she had 4 daughter-in-laws, but she gave everything to me. She said I inherited massive wealth. And she said that I'm not saying this because wealth is of any value, but what I'm saying is, even in this birth, Baba makes you see that, you never lose out. Even temporary loss you don't have. Of course, I didn't lose out on my good qualities and other stuff, which is a very big thing. But then I didn't lose out anyway. So she was laughing and she was saying that, Didi, I'm a wealthy person right now, and even my husband doesn't have that kind of wealth that I have now, because I was nice to her, and nobody was ever nice to her all her life. So she said that, you see, Didi, and I'm giving you a very funny example, but in any aspect of Baba's Srimad, if you follow it, there is no loss, and if you follow it with faith, there is no choking also. You always have a very good journey and you reach your destination. Okay, Om Shanti.